take some questions?
No, please.
Questions, comments, suggestions?
We have
Vice
a question here
Yes.
from this young man.
Do you have any idea how Democrats and Republicans could agree?
Yeah.
Finish your question. Agree about
Climate change.
Yeah.
Mars is he's my grandson.
Yeah.
He is a youth climate activist
Yeah.
who will be speaking at Los Angeles City Hall on Friday.
Right on.
So
Mars, this is Monica Rodriguez. She's a council member.
On the LA City Council, so
Okay.
I'll see you on Friday.
you'll see him on Friday. So this is a defining moment.
Absolutely. Mars, thank you for the question and for being here. So there is a way for Democrats and Republicans to work together on climate. I'll give you one example. So I was in this little town called Pacific Junction in Iowa. It's not too far from the Missouri River. And for as long as Pacific Junction has been a town, it has never flooded. And I talk to people who are a lot older than you or I am, who've lived there their entire lives, and they can attest to this. Well, this year, the Missouri River had its highest levels ever because there was the greatest level of runoff into the Missouri River Basin because the planet is warming, the climate is changing. We're seeing wetter years in Iowa and across this country than we ever have before. Every single home in Pacific Junction was underwater. Homes that had stood the test of time for 120 years were ruined forever. Everything in them lost to the people who own them. And I got to meet them, and I got to meet them with a Republican state rep who represents that area. And he wants just as badly as I do, maybe just as badly as you do, to do the right thing. And so we talked about how we rebuild the town, rebuild the levees so it doesn't flood as much next time. And then we started talking about the fact that our emissions, the way we live our lives, our inaction in the face of the facts and the science is what produced this. It wasn't God, it wasn't Mother Nature, it was all of us. And all of us have the opportunity to do the right thing. So that's renewable energy like wind and solar. But this is another thing I learned in Iowa that I want to share with you if you don't already know this. Those farmers that I met just outside of Pacific Junction, whose fields were lakes now. They had these bins of soybeans that had blown up. The soybeans had soaked up all the water from the ground, expanded and blown the sides of the bins that they were contained in, and there was this stench of rotting soybeans everywhere through that farm. Those farmers want to be able to provide environmental services to help stop climate change. So there's something called cover crops. After they harvest the soybeans or the corn, they can plant something else that pulls carbon out of the air and sequesters it in the soil and keeps it there so it doesn't continue to cook the planet. They want to be paid for doing that. As president, I want to pay them for doing that, or keeping more land under conservation so that it's not cultivated. In other words, Republican represented area, Democratic represented area, rural community, big city, we're all going to do our part, and then we're going to lead the world to make sure everyone in the world does their part as well. And then, I hope, we will have made you proud, and we can all be here getting behind your run for the presidency. Good job. Yeah, very impressive. I want to see your speech, okay? Looking forward to it. Thank you, Mars.